Hello everyone. Today in this feature update, we shall discuss about the enhancement in e-invoice and e-waybill integration for HO and POS. We have 5 enhancement pointers to be discussed in this session, out of which the fourth pointer is the major enhancement. So let's begin one by one. Introduction of Transporter ID in Ginesys. You might be thinking, Transporter ID, what's this and why is it necessary and where it has been introduced. Transporter ID is a 15-digit unique identification number provided to the transporters for generation of e-waybill. It is similar to GSTIN. So it's necessary because it's a mandatory field for generation of e-waybill. However, in Ginesys, currently we do not have any separate field for capturing of transporter ID needed for generation of e-waybill. So alternatively, users used GSTIN field for capturing the same. But what was the problem? There was a scenario where transporter ID started with 88 and this could not be inputted in the GSTIN number because of validation of first two digit being the state code. 88 represents national permit given to the transporters having transportation work in multi-state. So, as a result, for all such cases, users needed to manually generate the e-waybill and they could not use the integration benefit. Now, we have introduced a field, Transporter ID. After the release, users need to update the subledger master for the transporter having Transporter ID 88. For rest cases, it could be ignored. So it might be pretty clear where ID needs to be updated, and thus it has been introduced in the following subledger masters. In subledger others, employees, vendor and customer master. So let's move into the ERP screen and check the same. We are into the ERP screen and I'll show you the transporter ID field in any one of the masters. Now let's check the vendor master. Since the vendor is transporter in this case, user can input the transporter ID in this field. And now the logic for capturing the transporter ID in e-waybill generation has also been changed, where presently the transporter ID was captured from GSTIN. The same would be picked from transporter ID, and if this is null, it would be picked from GST number. The field transporter ID has also been exposed in Excel imports for the respective subledger masters. Now let's move into the second enhancement. Operational control in POS E-invoice. Unlike HO, many clients wanted to segregate and control the generation and cancellation of e-invoice. So, with the release, we have bifurcated the user security manage e-invoice details into two new app operations, manage e-invoice details generate, manage e-invoice details cancel. So now onwards, user can now generate or cancel the IRN as per their access rights. Currently, users having the right to manage e-invoice details had the right to both generate and cancel. So, for migration cases, users having right to manage e-invoice details will have the right to both the new operations generate and cancel. After the version update, users can be assigned generate or cancel or both according to the security control. So let's move into the POS screen to check the same. As you can see the POS screen, I have taken a user with access right to generate e-invoice but no access to cancel it. So let's check what happens when the user cancels the IRN. I am in bill modification screen where for an invoice a valid IRN has been generated. Now I'll go and cancel it. As you can see, a validation message pops up as to the user not having right to cancel IRN. And thus it will be vice versa for users having right to cancel IRN and not to generate the same. By this way, access can be restricted for the user to generate or cancel iron as per the organizational security control. Further, for UX perspective and avoid confusion, we have changed the cancel button to close. Now let's move into the third enhancement. Allow GRT revert on IRN cancellation. A bug has been fixed where currently, if the IRN is generated on the GRT from the POS and it is synced to the HO, then revert is not possible even after the cancellation of IRN from POS. After the enhancement, once the IRN is cancelled at POS for GRT document, then cancellation will get updated in the HO via sync so as to enable the HO user to revert the GRT from HO. Let's move into the system and check the same. We are in the HO screen under goods returned from site window. I have a GRT document from POS having a valid IRN generated in it. Let's revert the same. On reverting, the user shall get a error message as to remove the IRN details from the store to enable the reversal of the GRT document. I go to the POS screen, cancel the IRN of GRT document. User gets a pop-up message. Do you want to cancel the IRN? I click on yes. So the IRN will be cancelled and then I'll sync it into HO. Now, the user must be able to revert the GRT document from HO once the updated IRN status is synced in HO. So, let's check the same. The IRN details is successfully updated. Now, the user goes and reverts the document from HO. The user shall now successfully be able to modify or cancel the GRT from POS as per his requirement. So let's move into the fourth enhancement. Allow repush of documents. This is a major enhancement. Presently, if an error arises during the generation of e-waybill and e-invoice due to either functional or technical issues, the system will prevent to resubmit the same document from the ERP system. In such cases, users are required to visit the EMG portal to manually generate the e-waybill and IRN. Post the enhancement, users would now be able to correct and repush the data for generation of e-invoice and e-waybill from the ERP itself. This is applicable for all integrations: e-invoice from HO, e-waybill from HO, and e-invoice from POS. Let's check one scenario where user shall push one e-invoice with incorrect address information. The system shall show an error to correct the address details. Once these are corrected, we shall repush the document and check the status of the same. User should now be able to generate the IRN. Let's move into the ERP screen and check the same. We are in the HO screen. I have created a sales invoice. Now let's generate IRN from the e-invoice generator window. I'll select the invoice and then click on proceed to generate. Generate IRN for the same. The data will be submitted to the EMG portal. Now the user needs to click on check status to check the status of the IRN. As you can see, an error message has been received that the pin code information is not correct. Earlier, if this kind of message popped up, the user had to go to the EMG portal and correct the same. However, now onwards, he can go to the ERP screen and correct the details and repush the document. Now, see, the address information is getting corrected and we'll repush the document. I click on proceed to generate and then generate the IRN and check status for the same. iron has been successfully generated. Now the users can correct n number of mistakes from HO or POS and then repush the document for generation of iron. The same is applicable for repush of document from HO for e-waybill and for e-invoice from POS. Now let's move into the last enhancement. Other enhancements. These are various miscellaneous enhancements introduced in POS and HO for more visibility to the users regarding the e-invoice related information such as iron acknowledgement number and acknowledgement date in the list view. So in Ginesys POS, we have added these fields in bill modification and goods return, and in HO, we have added the iron related information in goods return from site. GST document number of POS goods return entry shall now be visible in HO also while making sales return and transfer in. So let's move into the POS screen to check the same, and then we'll move into the HO screen to check the enhancement. You can see the POS screen. I'm in bill modification section. Now the users can see the iron acknowledgement number and acknowledgement date e-invoice related information in the list view page. Similarly, in goods return tab also, user shall be able to see the iron acknowledgement and acknowledgement date in the list view. Let's move into the HO screen. In HO, under goods returned from site, user shall now be able to see these fields as well. Now let's check the GST document number of POS goods return entry. In sales return, from now onwards, in the LOV of GRT number, the user shall be able to see the GST document number of the GRT. Similarly for transfer in as well. So this is it for the enhancement. I hope this feature update will increase the operational efficiency of the user. In case you have any further query, please feel free to connect to Ginesys Care. Thank you.